booktube, and welcome to a very, very special reading vlog. In this one, we're going to be reading some celebrities' favorite childhood books. And I'm just super excited about this, not only to read some books that some celebrities have enjoyed in their childhood and that really helped them grow up, but also I picked books that I also never read in my childhood and that are also really popular and that I always felt like I missed out on. If you can get FOMO from children's books, I always felt like I missed out on them. So I'm super excited to read these. I picked 4 celebrities today. I definitely plan for this to be a series on this channel if you guys will really like it. So definitely show that you like it by hitting like button, subscribing, doing all of that great stuff. But now, let's get into the 4 books that I chose and the 4 celebrities that made me choose these books. So first we have Scarlett Johansson, obviously from, well, I know her from the Avengers franchise. And I think the book she picked was Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I just find very ironic. But anyway, this is Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a very short book. It's by Roald Dahl. And I cannot wait. I don't know what it's about, but let's hope it's fantastic. So next we have Mr. Neil Patrick Harris, who I actually know from Smurfs. I know it's the stupidest thing, but I know him from the Smurfs. And also I think he's written books. I'm not positive, but I remember the time I went to BookCon, he had a panel there. So I'm assuming he's written a book to be at BookCon. But anyway, he's recommended Bridge to Terabithia, which is a book my best friend's brother gave to me once, and I just never read it. I still have his copy, and I promised him that I would read it, so this will be that. I've heard that it's very depressing for a children's book story, so I'm super excited to get into this one. It concerns the fantastical world. It has these characters that I've heard are great, and I cannot wait. And it's written by Catherine Patterson and is 160 or so pages. So next we have Kelly Clarkson from, of course, The Kelly Clarkson Show, which I have not watched, but I found her recommendation, and that's all that really matters, isn't it? But she recommended Matilda, which is honestly half of the reason, or probably at least 80% of the reason why I chose her recommendation, because my school recently did a production of Matilda, and I feel like I just missed out on so many opinions that I could have had about their production, in comparisons to the original book. So yeah, I guess it's another Roald Dahl book. I obviously know the basic story from my school's production, but I definitely have not read the original, which in most cases, let's keep it a buck, is the better story. So super excited to read this one. It's about a book lover, and that's all we need. And then finally we have Ms. Taylor Swift, who well, I don't think she necessarily recommended it as her favorite children's book, but I mean, she wouldn't have recommended it as her favorite adult novel or young adult novel. Anyway, Charlotte's Web. Out of all the children's books that I have not read, this is the one that gives me the most FOMO. This is the one that's seriously, how? And I've heard so much about it, about the spider and this entire story, but I don't know anything about it. I've even read a biography of E.B. White without having read any of her work. So, yeah, I cannot wait to finally read Charlotte's Web. So yeah, these are the 4 books we're going to be reading in this vlog: Bridge to Terabithia, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Charlotte's Web, and Matilda. Let's read some children's books. Alright, it is time to start our first book of the vlog, and that is going to be Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. Let's go. I don't know why, but I read Bang Bang Bang, and I just thought of this song. So, I've read the book. It took me maybe half an hour, I don't know. And I don't understand this. Okay, so first of all, I'm not reviewing it as if I read it as a young adult book. I'm not reviewing it from that lens, right? I'm looking at it as if I was a child and I had this book read to me, what would I learn from it? You know, what would I glean from this book? And there will be spoilers for this book in this little rant here, but it's as predictable as it comes. So this book is about this fox, right, who takes these animals from this farm that these 3 men And so these three men, they get mad, obviously, that these things are getting stolen. And so they go to the place where the fox lives. And they basically are like, he's gonna have to come out of this hole in the underground to get his food. And so their plan is to wait, which is a perfectly decent plan, right? And so what the fox does is he just builds a tunnel that just goes directly to the farm.
Okay, so I did a really bad job describing the book from here, but basically he builds this tunnel that goes from under the houses up into them, takes the chicken the food that way, and he feeds his kids. He finds some other animals that he feeds as well, and that's how the story ends. So let's get back to the rant.
I cannot believe Roald Dahl was like, okay, I need to write a book that will give young children lessons, you know, to take into their lives going forward. And he was like, yeah, a fox stealing food from people who rely on that food to live from the underground, promoting underage drinking, because like the cider, I don't know if the kids are supposed to be drinking that per se, promoting stealing this food. Like, it doesn't even have a lesson that you can even take from it. Like, what's the lesson to gain here? I just don't get the message. Also, how could some, like, for plot consistencies, how could, like, the rat and the badger talk, but, like, the geese couldn't talk? Like, how does that, I know it's a children's book, but, like, how could the geese and, like, the ducks, how could they not talk? But anyway, there's also some, like, sexism in this book, because, like, why, like, it felt like Mrs. Fox was so weak, and, like, the kids and Mr. Fox weren't, and I just didn't understand that. It's so funny to me. Like, Roald Dahl was like, okay, they were stealing, so now they're gonna face punishment. Oh no, they're just gonna do more stealing, and now they're just gonna live underground. It makes no sense to me that this is a book that people read to their children. Like, I understand that the original, like, Red Riding Hood, right, was very gross, was very not bright or very a light tale, but it had a moral to it, right? It had the same moral that the Red Riding Hood we tell the kids now has. It just was way darker. This book had no morals that you could feasibly teach to children. Like, what could it be? Stealing, drinking underage. At the end of the day, Fantastic Mr. Fox was not fantastic, and this book was not fantastic. Let me see what Scarlett Johansson likes about this book. I was in 2nd or 3rd grade when my sister read this to me. I remember that when she was finished, I insisted she start right over again. The somewhat dark children's tale of a charismatic fox influenced Johansson's career choice. I attribute my love of drama to having heard her do all the characters' voices. And, like, not even the morals of the story, the entertainment value, the shock value. I guess from that kind of perspective, this would definitely deliver a shock. It would be I definitely would be entertained by this book if I read it. I mean, I was entertained by it now, just like seeing where it was going. So I guess you could take that. Whatever. On to, what's the next book? Oh, by the way, I'm giving that like a 2 out of 5 stars. That was not, nope, not it, no. The next book we are reading is our recommendation from Neil Patrick Harris. That's going to be Bridge to Terabithia. I'm super excited about this. I feel like I'm gonna like Fantastic Mr. Fox the least out of all of them. I feel like all the other 3 have real potential for me to enjoy them. I read it the first because it's the shortest, and I definitely thought it was the quickest to get through. But now, Bridge to Terabithia, I have really high expectations from it. It's won a Newbery medal. Yeah, let's get right to it. Okay, so I have finished the book. It's taken me a little longer than I thought it was going to, but that is because I've started doing this volunteering thing that I'm doing over the summer, and I've also been reading a different book for a different vlog that you guys will see very soon, or might have already seen depending on how long this vlog takes. This book really, it made me think about the term children's book, because that's what I'm titling this vlog. This is what the book is in a way. I guess it's more middle grade, but like it still touched on so many important themes of, without giving spoilers, like this human condition, this life that we live. It was just such an aching, beautiful book. Obviously it was 5 stars, but like Jess, he was such a great main character. The way he grew, seeing his character progression throughout this book was just great. He had an amazing, like really well written perspective. Like the writing was really good in this book. I mean, if it's one in Newbery, obviously the writing was very creative, and it just had that like magical feel to it. Terabithia, my god, what a great, obviously metaphor, but what a greatly imagined place. Like she really did infuse it with the magic that a 10-year-old or 11-year-old would think of it through. And Leslie, what a great person, human being. She was so much fun to read, and seeing her and Jess's relationship grow through this book, and both of them like feeding off of each other was just great. I just loved so much about this book, like them helping, what was her name? I think it was Jessica Avery, something along those lines. Like seeing how they helped her get through what she was going through, the church scene, the initial racetrack scene, like the racing scene, and in the end, like the final like 50 or so pages were just so heartbreaking and beautiful. This book was so good, and I'm so happy that I read it. I'm about to go into a little spoilers, so I'm gonna be holding the book the entire time, so if you want to skip to it, I'm not holding the book, do that. I'm really mad about the way the synopsis they gave this book, because I know that I would have cried, and I almost did cry, but I don't know if they purposely did this, because the way it's written, they had to have purposefully done it. But like it says, then one morning, and the synopsis says, then one morning a terrible tragedy occurs. Only when Jess is able to come to grips with this tragedy does he finally understand the strength and courage Leslie has given him. Why? I knew Leslie was gonna die, and it was so maddening. It didn't hit the way it should have. But like that's not the author's fault at all. It's still a great story. It still was so heartbreaking. And seeing how Jess reacted to it, like he was mad, and then he kind of came to terms with his feelings and how he felt. I cannot say enough about this book. I'm really happy that I read. I think this was Neil Patrick Harris recommendation. So yeah, great recommendation, obviously. All right, next we're moving on to Matilda by Roald Dahl. This is Kelly Clarkson's recommendation, but I'm not really reading it because I care about Kelly Clarkson. I'm reading it because I want to read Matilda. Really excited to read this. It's 230 pages, so definitely the longest one that we've read so far. So let's get right into it. Okay, so it's actually not July 10th, it's July 9th, but whatever, it's July 9th. And I finished Matilda, and what a weird little book. I enjoyed it much more than Fantastic Mr. Fox. So it's about this girl named Matilda who has these very not abusive, but very neglectful parents that don't really care about her. And the dad is like this corrupt guy who sells these cheap, really bad cars to people who, after having used it and being far out of town, realize that it's not very good, and so that's how he makes his money. He's not a very honest businessman. So it's about this girl as she learns to read. She reads Dickens at like 5. She reads Tolstoy. She just reads books that she shouldn't be able to understand and be able to read at a very small age. And so soon she goes into the school where she it's Matilda, whatever. And she goes to school and she meets this teacher, and this teacher's like, you are a very special person. I'm going to help you. And so yeah, we just follow her journey as she tries to see the limit of her abilities, and a lot of the book also centers on these parents, but also on the principal of the school, who's Miss Trunchbull, who is a very mean-spirited lady who like tortures the kids, and she's just a very interesting character. But yeah, I feel like the play that I watched in my school, I think I told you guys about that, was very faithful to the book. I feel like it still hit a lot of the major points. Like throughout this book, I basically knew what was going to happen. It was just these minor discrepancies that I think, I know that my school and the musical did to just make it a little more entertaining. Like there was something added in my musical about like this weird story about traveling dancers or something, and that's not in this book. Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I loved Matilda's character and how like honest and unselfconscious of her ability she was. I just thought she was great. She was really nice, and I loved Miss Honey. Oh my god, what a great being, what a great person. Miss Trunchbull was perfect in the sense that she was exactly what she needed to be. Roald Dahl is, I learned through this book. I did not really learn it through Fantastic Mr. Fox, but through this book, he is a great writer. He's so good at exaggerating the fantastical, through giving these lush, vivid descriptions, and he's just great at weaving and telling a story in this book, especially. I just always felt like I was there, and I was actually thoroughly entertained by this book. Like, it was just a fun story, and I really liked the ending. I loved the writing, the plot. It was just all great. I'm really happy that I read this one, and I can't wait to watch some of the movies that I'm sure have been made from Matilda. I know there was one that was made in like 1996, 86? I have no clue, but I know there's a movie that was made, so I definitely do want to watch it. I was looking to see if there's any movie about Matilda as an adult, because I feel like that would be so interesting to like discover and look into. Like, where do we go from here? The book kind of ends really open-ended, so I'm really interested to see where we could go from here. But yeah, that's 3 out of 4 books down. And now from Miss Taylor Swift, we have Charlotte's Web. What's actually interesting about Matilda is that I posted on my story that I just read it, and so and my roommate replied, was like, "You haven't read this before?" Yes, I haven't read a lot of the childhood classics, but I'm working on it. That was kind of the aim of this video, but also to see what our favorite celebrities read in their childhood. But yeah, let's read Charlotte's Web. I think this one is a little shorter. Yeah, it's more like 170 or so pages, and I've heard a lot of good things about this, so really excited to read it. Alright guys, I have finished Charlotte's Web, the last book for this vlog, and obviously 5 stars. Just what a heartwarming story. I loved it. Charlotte Wilbur was such a passionately written character. You could tell this was a labor of love for E.B. White. She wrote a great story, and she really put a lot of character and girth into Wilbur. Templeton, a great character, and I just loved Fern's character growth, and I really appreciate that E.B. White didn't go like the traditional kind of stereotypical way with the story in relation to Fern's character growth. But I just thought this was a great story. The miracle stuff, the storytelling, I just overall really enjoyed this. I wish I'd read this as a kid. I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more, but I still really liked it. I realized that 2 of the 4 books that I chose had animals talking as a main plot point, backdrop thing. That doesn't even strike me as a coincidence in any way, because I just feel like as a kid, animals talking was just a great way to keep me interested, but also right now, as someone looking back on these stories, to be like, that's a great allegory for the human condition and how we live, expressed through animals. And we even see that allegorical tales that aren't necessarily childish, like Animal Farm, for just an example that I can think of off the top of my head. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave it a like. We read Charlotte's Web, which I enjoyed, British Terabithia, which I also enjoyed, Matilda, which I also really liked, and Fantastic Mr. Fox out of Churchill Library, and I did not like, but hey, some miss, some hit. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. I definitely do want to be doing more of these creative vlog type videos. I have a lot of them planned. I think you guys are really going to enjoy them, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on those when they come. But leave it a like, comment down below, subscribe, turn post notifications on, and I'll see you next time with another video. Reading celebrities' favorite childhood books. What a video.